again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And if you've been on social media or if you've watched any videos on X or YouTube or TMZ, I'm sure you're familiar with the story that we're going to go over tonight. This weekend, there was some brutal footage, vicious footage that came out of California. A live stream wrestling event in Los Angeles over this past weekend has sparked a police investigation after an individual by the name of Rampage Jackson. Can you guess where he's from? The story, this is the son of a former UFC lightweight champion named Quinton Rampage Jackson. I'm not really into UFC or MMA, so these people really they're not familiar to me. This guy, Raja, was seen unleashing a series of punches to the face and head of a wrestler during what was supposed to be a staged event. Now, in wrestling, if you know anything about wrestling, I used to follow wrestling when I was a kid years ago. I was a big fan. There's something called a work, right? And a work means that it's a event that happens that's staged. It's scripted. This apparently, and the video that we're going to show you, the three videos we're going to show you, it appears that maybe these guys were setting something up and they wanted to bring, some crazy fan reaction into it and, maybe get some, I don't know, some heat going. This was not by any means like a WWE event. This thing was handled this event happened like in some gymnasium. There were probably like 30 people there. So these are all up and coming wrestlers who are trying to make a name for themselves. The video, which went viral, shows the younger Jackson jumping into the ring. Now, there's no security at these things. Like, just, have like security guards there. Nothing. This guy jumps into the ring. This happened on Saturday night. In the middle of this wrestling match involving Stuart Smith, a.k.a. Psycho Stu. And Jackson picks Smith up and he slams him down. And he slams him down on his back, and you can see Smith's head slamming to the back of the mat. Now, these are things that happen. That's called a bump for all you non-wrestling kayfabe fans. And sometimes, even when professional wrestlers are doing these crazy slams and jumps and stuff, they fuck up and they get hurt in real life. So this could have all been still part of the show. If he had gotten hurt or he injured his neck, people would have said, oh, it's wrestling. It's what happens. But what happened afterwards was not part of the show. Jackson immediately began to deliver what is said to have been 23 punches to the face and head as this crowd of wrestling fans looked on in shock. Now, if you're going to see the video here, two wrestlers climb into the ring. And let me tell you something. These guys they took their time. Maybe this guy, Psycho Stu, is an asshole and they were just, kind of, in the glory of it. But two wrestlers climbed into the ring after a little bit, and pulled Jackson off of Smith. But these wrestlers are not tough guys. They're not even built like they used to be, because he manages to push them off and he jumps right back on Smith. And the crowd you can hear the crowd screaming as the two men as Jackson's pounding on this guy's face. Four more wrestlers eventually tackle Jackson and drag him into the corner. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Wrestling today, just like most sports, has gotten so soft and pathetic. It's just not even watchable anymore. There used to be guys, and some of you may laugh at me when I say this. If Bruno Sammartino, and many of you probably don't know who he is, but at one time, he was one of the strongest men in the world. I think he was the first guy to bench press over 500 pounds with no straps or no belt. Had he been in that arena, he would have ripped this guy's head off. this Raja Jackson. He would have killed him. A guy like Harley Race, people like Rick Rude, Randy Savage, these guys were legitimate tough guys. Like, you didn't want to fuck around with these guys. The Iron Sheik. I mean, people remember the Iron Sheik for his crazy antics. He was a real bodyguard for the Shah of Iran. He would have fucking took this guy and ripped him from limb to limb. These wrestlers, as you're going to see in the video, they don't know how to grapple. Wrestling is just, it's garbage today. Even the guys in the WWE are just, I mean, there are some big guys, trust me. And we heard the terrible news of John Cena with a cancer diagnosis, but that's because of, the medication, the steroids these guys take. It's just it's awful. But there was nothing. Usually, like one or two guys would be able to, punch this guy in the mouth and knock him out. These guys over here, I mean, this must have been like really low budget. I've never heard of this wrestling academy. This must be like really bottom of the barrel, like, where the guys first start out, because the video of the incident was held at the Knox X Pro Wrestling Academy in Sun Valley, California. It was live streamed on Kick, which I don't know what that is. I'm just reading what I was writing down before, but quickly spread on social media and YouTube, as we said. The video shows Jackson being escorted out of the gym after the incident. Now, viewers online questioned whether the incident was a criminal or part of the show that had gone too far. This is criminal. The guy was completely knocked out. You could see his face is bloodied. I think he lost a few teeth. A spokesman for the Los Angeles Police Department confirmed that officers were called at the gym at 9 p.m. Sunday evening and received a report of an attempted murder, which is, yeah. If you look at if you haven't seen the video, you might agree that it might be attempted murder. The suspect Jackson had left the location by the time officers arrived, and the victim was taken to the hospital in stable condition. Police officers, the police spokesman said on Monday. Now, I've heard conflicting reports. I used stable because the police spokesman had said that, but I've heard conflicting reports in other articles and other videos that I've seen where this kid is in critical condition. He's lost a bunch of teeth. His bones in his face are all mashed up. It's a mess. Now, Quentin Rampage Jackson, Raja Jackson's father, shortly wrote on X about the incident, saying that his son, and I quote, was told that he was going to get payback in the ring. Now, Smith, before the match occurred, Jackson and Smith and a bunch of other wrestlers are in the parking lot prior to the show. And I guess they're just hamming it back and forth. And Smith, a video circulated online over the weekend, it showed confirmation that Jackson and Smith had words. They were in the parking lot. Smith, who was hanging out with other wrestlers before the show, appears to hit Jackson on the side of the head with a beer can or a can. Smith and Jackson, like we said, they had words, while other wrestlers are recording the interaction on their phones. This is why a lot of people think that this is a work. Quentin Jackson himself wrote, and I quote, "I thought it was part of the show. It was bad judgment and a work that went wrong. Raja is an MMA fighter, not a pro wrestler, and has no business being involved in an event like this. I don't condone my son's actions at all," in capital letters, end quote. Now, the video of the event shows Jackson talking to the wrestlers, including Smith. After the can incident, one of the wrestlers talking to Smith as Jackson stands next to him mentions that Jackson would run into the ring during Smith's match. So they probably had this thing of, hey man, look, maybe you can help us out. And, they would probably use Quentin Jackson's name as a springboard for maybe some publicity. Well, he got the publicity he wanted. Now, here's the issue with this. did this kid understand what wrestling is about? Because one of the unidentified wrestlers can be heard on the video saying, "We're always working," and I quote again, "so we'll set it up where I'll have him come out during your match so we can fucking seal the whole thing and we'll make something of it," end quote. Now, in the locker room, another wrestler wearing a cowboy hat is talking to Jackson as Jackson is walking to the ring or where the matches take place. The cowboy wrestler says, it can be said, and I quote, "When you run out on his shit, give him his receipts. You remember what a receipt is," end quote. On Sunday morning, however, officials for the show said in a statement that the incident had not been scripted and what was supposed to be staged, and a staged event, had turned into a real violent attack. Now, of course, this Knock X Pro Academy, Entertainment Academy, they're trying to cover their ass. Because now this is major lawsuits. This company might fold if this guy sues, and he should, because there should have been some security out there for these things. A spokesman for Knox X Pro Entertainment and Academy says, and I quote, "What was supposed to be a planned and agreed upon wrestling spot turned into a selfish, irresponsible act of violence against Smith. This egregious act is reprehensible and never should have occurred. In the 17 years of operation, Knox X Pro Wrestling Academy has never seen anything as heinous take place such as this, and we apologize to our patrons and fans," end quote. So they're already getting the lawyers involved. They have to. They have to. Because even if part of the confrontation was staged, legally, the extent of the attack on the wrestler has to mean ramifications for Jackson. And I would say ramifications for the company for not having any protection there for these wrestlers. Now, there is in sports, especially in contact sports, there is something called legal consent, right? Or physical consent. So if you're playing football, if you're boxing, if you're into wrestling, any type of physical activity, you automatically agree when you step into that ring, when you step into the field, that you're agreeing to get punched in the face. You're agreeing to get tackled. You're agreeing to get hit, right? So if a football player gets hit really hard and he gets a concussion, he can't sue the other player. He can't sue the NFL. He can't do any of these things. Now they have these concussion protocols, of course, but a boxer couldn't say, "Well, Mike Tyson knocked me out, I'm going to sue him." You can't. It doesn't make any sense. So there is a consent to this. However, the consent goes out the window, I would say, when the guy is just wailing away at you. So consent can be a defense to allegations of assault in a case of sports, because you do consent to the physical violence of it. But this appeared to exceed any sort of consent. The previous incident, of course, is going to come up. The previous incident with the can involving the can would not make any sort of self-defense claim, because it happened, who knows, 15, 20 minutes, maybe even an hour, before this guy, after this guy ran into the ring. And even if the two men had agreed upon the physical altercation, Jackson exceeded any possible parameters of safety, of decency. I mean, the guy's in trouble. Quentin Jackson said that his son had suffered a concussion from a sparring session and should not have been involved in this physical activity. This is another thing which leads me to believe that this kid may not be all there. And if we're going to watch the video as soon as my monologue is done, but if you see how he's reacting and how he's behaving, he looks like he's mentally ill. He might be suffering from early stages of CTE or whatever. I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't know UFC or MMA very well. I looked up his record. He's like 0-1. He's had like one match and he's lost it. So he's probably not very good. But Jackson did continue on X saying that, and I quote, "I'm very upset that any of this happened, but my main concern now is that Mr. Smith will make a speedy recovery. I apologize on his behalf and Kick for this situation." Now, Knox X Pro Entertainment and Academy said that it's monitoring Smith's condition, but did not release any information regarding his injuries that he suffered. One of the wrestlers at the event, named Douglas Malo, told USA Today that Smith was able to speak on Sunday, but he lost several teeth, holy shit, and suffered several broken bones in his face. On Monday, Andrew Smith, I guess this is Andrew Smith is the brother of Psycho Smith, wrote on Facebook that his brother was conscious and did have some recollection of the events of the attack. Now, the video, of course, was released by TMZ, which appeared to be from Jackson's Kick channel, and it showed Jackson on the street apparently after the incident, which is very disturbing. Jackson is quoted as saying, and you're going to see the video, and I quote, "I'm tired of motherfuckers playing with me, bro. At the end of the day, I'm a stand up for myself because I'm tired of everyone fucking playing with me." Jackson's Kick channel has been unavailable as of Monday today. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at the first incident. Now, this is the incident in the parking lot. That's Jackson with the white shirt. That's Psycho Sid without the shirt. And I would suggest he put on a shirt. Keep the shirt on next time. But let's check this out.
Yeah. Psycho Stu. Worried about Psycho Stu.
Psycho Stu.
What, you don't know me?
Hell no. Yeah.
Hey, I think that's a little.
Oh, you don't sell it?
Easy. He's not a fucking worker, bro. Calm down.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
You're good.
What the fuck was that?
You don't sell it?
No, he's not a fucking
Bro.
worker, bro.
What the fuck was that? Hold on. I don't play that shit, bro.
Oh, sorry.
Nah, I will fuck him
we're
up,
good.
bro.
I know you will.
No.
We're good.
I will fuck him up, bro. I don't play that shit.
Sorry about that.
Nah, I will fuck him up.
I'm going to be honest. It looked like this guy, Psycho Stu, is a bit of a dick. He's a fat guy with a beard. You know, he probably thinks because he's a little taller than this guy and he's a fat guy with a beard that, you know, he's going to intimidate people and whatever. That looked like it took this kid by surprise. It doesn't look like he was really ready for it. Now, did he really smack him over the way these wrestlers go? They have ways of making things look real. So even when you see the can explode, he probably squished the can as it went into him because he didn't really hit him hard with it. But this is more ego and embarrassment than anything else because this guy was like, you know, your testosterone is, you know, on level red. And then this asshole tries to show you up in front of these guys. You don't want to look like a bitch in front of these other guys. So he's probably pissed off now. He got hit in the head. If he has a concussion, his head is probably killing him if he has a concussion. And if he has brain damage, he's probably not sane. And we all know about these sub-Saharans anyway. It doesn't take much to get them out of control. So this is how it starts. This is the inciting incident, as they say in the screenwriting world. And here is the incident itself. There's the ring. Raja is on his phone. I guess he's broadcasting it on his channel. And let's take it away.
You kill me!
Hey, you gotta stop this shit, man. Hey. Stop this shit, man.
You!
So there you saw the wailing. I mean, this was not a joke. He was looking to fuck him up. Now, the psycho guy, he looked like he was just working because he let him pick him up. He kind of like, kind of jumped up to let him pick him up. He didn't look surprised at all. I think this guy thought, yeah, we're doing this. But the way he got slammed, he really was rough with that. So he must have known, oh shit, this is something fucked up. But when the punches to the face happened, and did you see how you would think like these wrestlers would have been all around the ring, they would have come out and defended this guy. That one guy who had the face paint on, he looked like I could have taken him. He wasn't doing anything. He didn't tackle him. He didn't subdue him at all. It took like 4 or 5 guys, and those guys aren't really big, and they don't look like they're very tough either. Wrestling has really, really changed, as a lot of sports has. But wrestling is more entertainment. But the guys who used to wrestle, especially back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, were legitimate tough motherfuckers. These guys are just they're pretty much just acrobats. And that guy, Psycho Stu, he looked like the biggest bitch of them all. It just goes to show you, if you're a fat guy with a beard, and a lot of times you see these guys who have tattoos all over the place, it makes them feel tough, and that's a mental disorder. It's I forget what it's called, but there's you're basically, when you wear tattoos, you're hiding yourself. So you're almost like wearing armor for the world, especially when you're fat, especially when you have a beard, especially when you have a lot of tattoos. People can kind of get intimidated by that. But then you punch a guy in the face and you realize that the tattoos don't hit back, the beard doesn't hit back, the belly doesn't hit back. And this guy is just lying on his back. And I'm not condoning what happened here, but the beer can thing was a dick move. And grabbing him by the back of the neck, like, he's like some little boy, that's a show of power. What would you do if that happened to you in a bar? I mean, these assholes, sometimes they think they're professional wrestlers, that they can intimidate people. But then you run into a guy who's just crazy, who's fucking nuts, like this kid. And then now you're in the hospital with no teeth and broken cheekbones. Now this is Raja. This is Raja after the incident. Now he's outside. And this is pretty hard to watch, because this is a kid that I think has some severe mental issues. We're going to find out more, but this is a guy who probably took a lot of bumps to the head. And he's probably not that bright anyway. I heard an interview where his father had said that he has like a bunch of kids with other women, and that he saved his money for his non-black kids to go to college, and he saved other parts of his money for his black kids because he knew he'd have to bail them out of jail. That's the type of family this kid comes from. That's the type of leadership that he has. That's his father's just as retarded as he is. We're going to see the product of his dad's poor leadership.
Hello?
Hey, where the hell are you at?
told you to double leg that motherfucker and start welding. I just saw the video.
Shit pissed me off though, Andre.
I understand that, but now they can't wake the nigga up.
Look at the blood
He's
all over.
fucking in the ring, fucking flatline, bro.
My
You
bad.
didn't have to do all that shit. I understand y'all had heat. You didn't have to fucking take advantage.
I'll call you back later.
Let's go. Ready? Give me 5. Let's go.
I don't know if that was blood or
Hello?
paint from the.
Paying for it?
Now here's his dad. That's Action Jackson or Rampage, whatever, Rampage Jackson. He looks very concerned because this is going to cost him money. This is going to cost him a tremendous amount of money. His son's going to go to jail. We all know that, as he should. And his son really needs to get some psychological evaluation here, because he could be suffering from early signs of brain damage already. Nobody in these industries give a shit, right? Because they just want to see these guys kill each other. And then when they have brain damage, and then they go home and they kill their wife and kids, or they go home and they drive a car into oncoming traffic, or they drink a gallon of Drano, that's when they all say, oh, I wish I could have been there to help. This is the early sign right here. This kid is fucked up in the head. And his father is in a bar somewhere with some other little boy, not giving a shit. He's guaranteed he's worried about his money. He doesn't care if that kid goes to jail. He expected it. That's the product of bad fathers. That guy over there, I don't care what he did in the ring. I don't give a shit how many guys he beat up. It doesn't matter. He failed already as a father. A major league fail. And his son, who's probably, like I said, suffering from CTE or some sort of brain ailment, is probably going to go to jail. And who knows when he goes to jail what's going to happen to him. Because he might go crazy in there, and he might off himself. He might assist himself into the great beyond, because these guys can't take the head trauma is so damaging into the end between the years. They can't live with it. They can't live with the pain in there. I read those stories and reports about Junior Seau, the football player. How he would talk about a constant blowhorn in his head. He couldn't sleep at night. He couldn't concentrate. He couldn't focus. The ringing, the dizziness. One guy, I think it was Mike Webster, said that he had ginger ale in his head all the time. It's like bubbly. It's like, how the fuck do these guys live like that? And for what? To make millions of dollars that you're only going to blow anyway? To play fucking football? So you get 10 years of people kissing your ass, and then after that, you can't even sit in a chair. You can't hear your kids talk, and then you have suicidal tendencies, you have murderous tendencies. This kid wanted to fucking kill that guy. And it's all because of insane sports like UFC and like MMA and like football. These sports have ruined more lives than made good out of them. But people love watching it. People love the violence of it. What can I say? They haven't evolved, but we have. All right. Well, there's my 2 cents. We'll update this more as we get stories. I have a feeling this guy's going to get arrested by tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. But we'll see. We shall see. Well, again, thank you again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And be careful out there, my friends. As you can see, Satan is busy, busy, busy. Busy, 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 especially with the mentally ill. Be a man, have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And just remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.